right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Tuesday morning Inner Circle Live session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. Hope everybody had an awesome Monday and your Tuesday is off to a great start. So, um, so without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in. As always, let's turn off all distractions, grab a pen and paper for notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. All right. So, had some hot news come out late in the evening, Eastern time, coming out of Australia. So, we'll take a look at some fundamentals. And then what I want to do is just dive into the charts and we'll get through as many as we can, get some updates, see what's happening, and see what trade setups are out there for us to take advantage of. All right. So, if you can hear me okay, drop me one in the chat and we will get this thing rocking. Perfect. All right. Let's hop over to, there we go, trading economics. So we'll get to the inflation in the Eurozone, but first things first, Australia interest rates. Right, Reserve Bank of Australia unexpectedly raised the cash rate by 25 basis points to 3.85 in May after maintaining a 3.6 in April. It was the 11th rate increase in a year, which defied market forecasts for an extended pause and brought borrowing costs to their highest since April 2012. Central bank said inflation at 7% in Australia is still too high, and further tightening may be needed to ensure it returns to its target rate as in a reasonable time frame. However, the rate path will depend on how the economy and price pressures evolve, right? So it'll be data dependent, quote unquote, but they do anticipate more rate hikes. Inflation in the country is projected to be 4.5% this year and 3% mid 2025. Meanwhile, labor stays very tight, while jobless rate at a near 50-year low. Right, so the board is committed to bringing inflation within the set range and will take all necessary steps to achieve that. So that pause that they had, they said it was to see where inflation or where things were, allow the data to catch up, right? And they did that. They didn't roll out any more hikes, and they're back to increasing rates because it's needed, right? That's important. So the Eurozone inflation accelerates. The Euro area inflation slightly increased 7% in April from March 13-month low at 6.9. Preliminary estimates showed the rate remained significantly above the ECB's target of 2%, and the core index held close to an all-time high, suggesting that the bloc's central bank is likely to continue its efforts to combat inflation. So the Eurozone is also likely to continue to increase interest rates. We got that decision coming later this week. All right. Big things there. So we want to continue to watch those and see how that moves. Those are the two big stories out of the day. We come to let me just make sure. All right. We come to Forex Factory and take a look at Monday. We had ISM manufacturing PMI for the United States come out, and PMI came in slightly above the expectation. Manufacturing prices also came in above, right? So a little bit of a hot data coming in there. Those are the cash rates for the euro. I mean, for Australia. Then later today, 7:20, Governor Lowe will be coming to the microphone to discuss. We also have JOLTS jobs openings. This will be an interesting number to see if the job openings continue to decrease, right, as the Fed continues to try to impact that job market. We also have tonight employment change and unemployment rate for the New Zealand dollar, and Governor Orr coming to the microphone with the bank holiday in Japan. All right. Tomorrow is where most eyes are sitting now. And we have ADP non-farm employment change, precursor to the report on Friday. But we also have services PMI number coming out. But this is the big deal here. FOMC statement, federal funds rate. Expected to increase by 25 basis points. You have a lot of investors saying that this could be the last increase before pause from the Fed. So it'll be interesting to see what happens during the press conference. The verbiage of the press conference is going to be key. All right. It's going to be key. There's a lot of things happening. You had another bank fail. Another bank fail, and JP Morgan Chase is taking over that bank. It was what was the bank that failed? I had that written down. I forget the name of the bank, but First National, I think it was.
First Republic.
Did somebody unmute themselves?
Yeah, Joy, it's First Republic.
First Republic. That's it. Thank you, Joy. Hold on one second. My audio's off here. There we go. Yes, First Republic. Thank you, Joy. First Republic and Chase. Chase is taking over that bank. Now, you got to also remember there were 3 or 4 banks that came in last month, put in $30 million to try to save the bank and not have them go through this process, but they ultimately still failed, still had deposits leave the bank. So JP Morgan Chase is taking over that bank. So that could also factor into the Fed's decision. All right. So that's things to keep our eyes on as we move through this new month. Then on Thursday, we have the ECB decision, main finance rate, monetary policy statement. We also have on Thursday unemployment claims for the United States and that press conference from President Lagarde. Then on Friday, right, after all of that, eyes will turn to non-farm payroll for the United States. You also have the employment change and unemployment rate for Canada. So busy week, providing lots of liquidity in the market. So that's it from a fundamental perspective. Do we have any questions?
Is Chase a for-profit company? Do they got stocks? Because they buying everybody up.
Say that one more time, Drew. I'm sorry.
I said Chase buying everybody up. Do they got a stock option?
From what I understand, Chase is in a very good financial position from what they say. I don't know what their employees get, but you can definitely look at their stock and see what it's doing after the transaction or the decision yesterday to take Chase's offer. Their stock did rise. Folks looking at it as positive for Chase in the long term. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, their stock is doing relatively well from what I heard yesterday. So we'll see. It's one of the,
and the only reason why I say that because I am a customer of theirs. They are pushing, like, the biggest thing they pushing out is investment and to trade with them. So I'm like, I think I missed the opportunity last year.
Well, so the thing to caution, right, is the narrative is this this bank issue isn't a systemic one, right? It's just certain banks. Um, but there are people starting to come out to say that they don't think that that's actually the case. They think this is a wider spread issue that will have a larger impact, and there will be more banks to fail. So they're looking at it more from a more regional bank perspective. So smaller than your Chases and your Bank of Americas and things like that, but still large banks. And First Republic was a pretty large institution, and one of the largest since 2008. So uh, something to keep our eyes on, right? And how that transpires. And the issue is a lot of the banks have investments that are kind of dead in the water, right? They're underwater on those, and they're starting to realize those losses, and they over indexed on some of the bonds that they purchased, and with the increase in interest rates, it takes the value of those bonds down, um, and so they're sitting in some pretty bad situations, and they have to realize those losses, and it's not good. So um, there's a lot of banks that have these bonds that they're holding, and a lot of companies too, right? Which is another reason you see a lot of companies making some of the decisions that they have outside of over investing in hiring and things like that. They also have some of these bad investments that they're sitting on. That they're starting to eat the losses on. So this could be a wider spread issue as we move into the second half of the year. They are talking about a recession, and that recession could be kind of bad, right? So things to watch and pay attention to as this continues to develop. So it'll be interesting to see. Oops. Be interesting to see. So yeah. So keep your eyes on them, Joy. Keep your eyes on them to see what happens. Let's hop over to the charts. Take a look at the dollar quickly. Right, we're still in this range. Right, price is pressing down. We know we had the crown pattern playing out here, and for the past almost month, we've been stuck in this range between 12,864 and 12,743. So 12,722, right? So this is the range that we're bouncing in for the DXY, and coming into tomorrow, right? This is the question of, if they hike rates and they have a hawkish stance, right? Do we see finally a breakout of this range and a push to the upside, right? Or is there a dovish tone and we start making our way to the downside like so? Right now, other things to keep in mind is if they do pause, you could have a positive or an emotionally positive response from the stock market until they think about kind of the longer term impacts of that, and things could turn over and press in the other direction. So the tone of the conversation and the words that are chosen tomorrow are going to be extremely important. So we'll see what happens with the DXY, and if we get a break in either direction there. But that's where we sit. We're still in the range. We're at the top of the range now. We'll see if we make our way to the bottom of the range, or if we break out and continue pushing to the upside for the dollar. All right. I want to take a look at the UJ real quick. Setup that I posted in the Discord this morning, right, on the 1 hour time frame. We got an 80-20 scenario here. I'll bounce back out to the higher time frames and break it down. But this is the setup here. We got a shallow retracement, price pushed through the 118, 127 zone, coming into this daily resistance level at 137,861, right? And we're looking to see, right? We got a 78 pip stop loss for the potential to TP1 at 247, right? So we're looking to see price potentially move to the downside, right? And at least give us a retracement And then we'll see if we get price to bounce and give us that continuation to the upside against the yen. Right. So this is the setup here at 80.20. Let's bounce back to the daily.
Sorry, Ryan.
Yes.
Hey, this is Janice. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Hey, the chart you was just on, what was that level that you was, for the 80-20 that you were trying to take it down to, the first take profit? Was that
the TP1 is at 135.024.
Oh, okay. So you just basically take it down to the first take to the first, like based off of the daily like support or resistance, as opposed to like just 384 all the time, or 386.
So the 38.2 here.
38,
I do
sorry.
have my take profit there. Yes. I am watching this daily level though, just to see if
it reacts there.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
We could see like a spike down, right, and
Gotcha.
push that 382 and it look something like that. But that zone is what I have my eyes on and where I have my take profit set. It could continue deeper though, right, depending on the Fed narrative and all of that jazz. But that's where I have my take profit set, and then we'll look to see what happens after that, right?
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So let's bounce back to the daily and work our way through. So here we are, right? Top of this range. Got to adjust this daily level actually. That should be there. So that also changes things a bit too, right? That's the daily support there. And I got my numbers in there for my markup, but take that out. There we go. All right, so we got our daily resistance there, right? And we broke through that level, right? And this is that break and retest that we're looking at here, Janice, right? And this was a previous level of resistance, right? And if price comes back, retest that level, and then potentially continue higher.
Okay.
Right. So that's how you can see that there. And we got the support level there. So on this dollar yen, we also had this crown pattern that we're watching. So what could potentially occur, depending on what happens with the Fed, is double top action here. All right. So I'm going to take this out. We'll put it back in, but double top action here, right? If this level holds and if we get this push down, that'll give us a double top, right? And if we get swing high to occur, right there. So that's also something to keep in mind, right? Double top here if we get price to push to the downside, and then we'll watch these lower levels. If we break through that daily, then we'll look at the next daily level of support and see what occurs there, right? So little pieces to keep our eyes on as price continues to move. We got some indecision happening right now on the day. So we come down to the 4, right? And you see that double top a little more clearly here. Whoops. See that double top a little more clearly there. Okay. If we run our fibs off the low and track them through, let's see. Boom. That one got taken out as well. And let's see. Right. So there we are on the 4, right? We got a 382 push. We hit the D extension. We're running into this daily resistance level. So even on the 4-hour time frame, looking at a potential reset, right? And looking at that reset, once that swing high occurs on the 4-hour, that new fib will look like this if this is our high, right? And so that retracement, if we get it off that 1 hour, puts us in this position here on the 4, right? It's a 50% retracement on the 4-hour time frame. Right. If we push deeper, we could get into that 618 zone. Right. If we get to TP2 on that 1 hour. Right. So this is what that would look like if this swing high forms here. Okay. So this is what we're looking at on the 4-hour time frame. B boundary retracement. right? And then looking for a continuation. So when you look at higher time frames control the lower time frames, right? Higher time frame retracement, 50%, 618 retracement on the 4-hour time frame, right? That's a 382 on the one based on that fib, right? So then we could be seeing that reversal happen there. So now as we move down to this 1 hour, come back to this chart, right? Now all of this makes sense. Okay. We'll map these back through. Like so, right? So this larger fib is your 4-hour fib. Smaller fib is your 1 hour, right? So 80-20 on your 1, B boundary on your 4, retracement, right? So that's the opportunity there. Any other questions on this dollar yen?
For comparison, is the crown still active on DXY that you have set up?
It is, yes. Yes, right? And so we'll see what happens as price continues to move. Here's the crown here. I just took it off so that I could see things a little more or a little less clutter, right? So it's all about what happens here in this range, right? If we break above, we could, right? If price pushes to the upside and breaks out and comes here, we could see a double top scenario. Still would keep the crown intact. If we break that level and push higher, right, then that would change the right tip of that crown, right? And then it'll be invalidated. It'll be invalidated if, right, it'll adjust like that if we push higher in that range. And then as we push higher, then it'll be invalidated if price continues to rise. So these daily levels will be key as price moves. But currently, yes, the crown is still intact. All right. So even on this dollar yen, right, this crown technically is still intact as well. We could just see a double top scenario here and a press to the downside if price runs down. All right. If we get a retracement here. Now, if price breaks to the upside, then we could see that that narrative also change. Right. That's the crown setup right now on this UJ, right? But if price does break this high, right, could adjust, give us a deep crown. But if price continues to rise, understanding what's happening in Japan, right? If the dollar doesn't weaken, that could be invalidated, but it'd have to take out the high in order to do so. Right? So crowns are still intact at the moment. It could just adjust if price breaks those highs. Okay.
Hey, Ryan.
Yes.
Can you do me a favor? And one thing I'm having problems with is I'm getting a little bit better at it is when I put down my fib, making sure that it's the right fib to come all the way over to the right. Which level did you have the fib on for the 4-hour for UJ? Because as I do it, it looks like it's not complete, like it didn't come all the way over to the current price. So I was trying to see which one gave you, where did you put it?
I ran that fib off of this low here. So if you come back, and how you can do this is you start at your lows and just work your way all the way through. And this will give you an opportunity to kind of practice too, right? But you can start at, you can zoom all the way out, all right? You can zoom all the way out, come down to your low, and then just map those all the way through.
And whichever one will bring you to current, that's the correct.
That's your capital fib, yeah. Yeah, that's your capital fib. So we come here.
Right. You found that low on the what, daily?
On the daily.
Ah.
Right. You zoom all the way like that.
That's it. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. And then just start there and run the fibs. And each time they get taken out, you just change directions, right? And we know that price, right, was moving to the upside, so you can find the next low. So here,
Right.
all right, boom, price went, took out the A there, so we start
Yep.
at this low here.
Ah,
And then you just map them all the way through until you get to current price.
you get your current one. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. And you see here, right, price came down and took out that A and then started moving back to the upside there. All right. So if you run them top down, right, you do have this larger fib here, right? But bias on the yen is bearish, right?
Okay, right.
So that's why I started from the low, working my way to the upside in this scenario.
Gotcha. Okay. I got it now.
Good questions.
Thank you.
All right. No other questions on this dollar yen? When I run a trend line on the 1 hour, if price retraces back to the trend line, it'll hit the extension on the 1. Let's see what you got, Donette. Running a trend line off the low.
Just the main fib.
Where did that come out at? So running a trend line off this low here.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm gonna start them here just to see everything fully. All right. And so you're saying, what now?
Yeah. If price pushes back up to retrace, yeah, you're back to the trend line.
I gotcha. If we get a push back up to the upside, I got you there. Yeah, that could happen, right? So we'll see what happens in this consolidation as price moves sideways here. Yeah. That's what you're saying.
So I'm looking for the break of the, the low there. If it breaks the low, then.
Yep, that's definitely a good point of confirmation, right? You got your support level there. Yep. If you can break at the low, that's your confirmation. Price continue moving to the downside. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Nice work. Nice work.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thoughts on US 30 and Dow? If we got time later on, we'll take a look at those. I don't trade those a lot, but if we got time at the end, we'll take a look at at US 30. Let's see here. Give me 1 second, everybody. All right. That is that. Let's take a look at some of these Aussie pairs to see how those moved. Aussie dollar. I'm sorry, Aussie CAD. We know we had this head and shoulders pattern working to play out, right? We came shy of the 382. We pushed down into this 118, 127 zone. With the news, strong push to the upside. We're coming back to this level of daily resistance now. So we want to see what transpires here. If price is able to break through these levels and continue pressing higher, right, to give us that deeper retracement, or does that daily level hold and we press down to the downside there? All right. So as we come down to the 4, right, ultimately we're bearish here. We obviously, right, the RBA has changed its tone from, well, not changed its tone, but right, they increased those interest rates. So we got that push to the upside. So now we want to see if we're able to break out of this range, right? This is the range that we're trapped in here, right? And we could have a scenario where, right, that news pushes us to the top of the range and then we move back down to the bottom of the range, right? Something like that. And we could stay trapped there with all eyes on the Fed, right? It's 160 pip range. So that's where we are from a 4-hour perspective. Coming down to the 1, zoom out, right? And if we run our fibs off the high, see where we fall, right? So still bearish, 50% retracement, right? As long as we stay below 91,054, right? Bearish narrative still stay intact. Ultimately looking at price getting down to 88,342 at some point, right? So we want to watch price in this range here to see what transpires. In a shorter term scenario, intraday trade opportunity, right? Looking just at this range that price is in, understanding that we need a breakout, right? The extension on this sub fib here is right in line with that daily resistance level. So we could see price give another push to the upside to test that level. And if it stays below, right, we could see a fresh AB boundary and see that retracement happen there. So that's something to keep your eyes on from a shorter term intraday perspective on this Aussie CAD. But for me, that's not something I'm going to trade. But that's an opportunity if that's a trade that you like to see off that daily resistance level and that 1-hour fib potentially giving us a retracement there. All right. So that's the Aussie CAD. Any questions there?
No, not for me.
Sweet. Aussie Swiss. We're pushing to the upside here. All right, come here to the daily. Let's make sure this was a previous daily support level. Came back and broke right through it with that news. That level is no longer valid. We're looking at this next level here at 65.77. Strong push to the upside off a fresh AB boundary. All right. Off a fresh AB boundary. You know that Swissy has been on a tear. We're starting to get a retracement here. We'll see what happens as we get to this daily resistance level. Coming down to the 4, right? It's 80-20 scenario here, right? I missed this one, right? But shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone, and we got the flip, right? So now price is pushing into the 618 retracement, 786 retracement, comes in line with that daily resistance level at 65.77. Yeah, Joy, it finally gave us a reversal, right? After all of the no-goes, right? It finally pushed, okay? Broke this trend line 2 on the 4-hour, right? Ran the trend lines off the high, right? And it broke our trend line, strong bullish push. See if we get a retracement and then a continuation there, okay? So we'll drop down to the 1 and we'll take a look at that a little more closely. Okay, so here on the 1, right? I had this marked out and everything, and didn't catch it. So, but we got a cloud break also, price push to the upside there. All right, so price is moving on the 4 and on the 1, right? We got our trend line breaks. Price is going. Okay, so now see if we get a retracement off of this. Run our sub fib there. We hit the D extension on the sub fib. look for a swing high. That's our high point there. So after the 7 o'clock candle closes, we'll have a new swing high. All right, and that fib will look like that. Okay, so retracement, potentially retest this daily level that it broke through, right, which we did take out. All right, so looking for a pullback and see if we can continue this long push. All right, so we could be looking at that situation there. Okay. So that's the Aussie Swiss. We'll have a fresh AB boundary here shortly. All right. See if we get a low price. What is happening? My computer's tripping right now. But yeah, we'll see if we get a low price, right? Retest previous resistance level here. And then see if we get another opportunity to get long and play it to the matching D extension at 67.65. Okay. So that's what I'm looking at there. I missed that move. We'll take that out. All right. And this is what we're looking at here. So we'll wait and see if we're able to get price to push into our sweet spot. And we're looking at that. All right. Questions on the Aussie Swiss?
Nope.
No?
So I got a question,
Talk to me.
because this is where I get myself confused.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my primary fib is running down and it's still active.
Yeah.
If price comes into a point of interest, I mean, just look for the swing and pray to the gods.
What do you
Hear my
mean?
prayers.
What do you mean?
Because I was looking, because I want to say mine's, because I think mine's is on the 4 hour, that mine's is still active on. I'm waiting on my computer to load up. I'm sorry. And my anticipation was to wait for a swing to form to take it back down to the D extension. But with the price rate hike and everything, I mean, it's making me, second guess myself, I guess.
Yeah. So the interest rate hike also kind of changed my tone a bit too, right? We do have, I believe we got Swiss CPI. I gotta find out where that fib was coming from on this. We do have Swiss CPI coming out later this week also, right? So that could also change the narrative a bit. But let's see. There we go. That's the active fib you got here.
Yeah, because the 1 and the 4 is just about the same now.
Yep, exactly, right? So, yes, in theory, right, looking at for a high price to get short, right? But I'm also looking for price to at least get back to this daily resistance level at 65.77.
Okay.
Right? So that's my thought on the sub fib, taking that low price to play that move back to that high price. Right? And then once we get to that daily level, then looking to get short, right? Because if you come to your 4, right, that daily level is at a 786 retracement there, right? So it still puts us into our sweet spot on the 4 hour and on the 1 hour.
Okay, I think I see it now, because once it hit the daily, then it basically be retracing the back end of that trend line for a move back up. If.
Yeah, looking at something like this maybe.
Okay.
Yep. Good questions. Oops. Any other questions here on this Aussie Swiss? No? All right. Next, Aussie yen. Running to the upside. Ran into a daily level. Right? So here, that's where we are on this Aussie yen. Right? We got a 50% retracement and we're pressing long. Right? We know the narrative with the yen. Not a bullish one, right? Not a bullish one on the yen. So with that news, it made sense. Price to push to the upside. We broke this level, right? We could see price come back, retest, continue long, right? Retest and continue long. Okay, so I'm going to keep that level there, just looking to see if we do get that retest, right? So let's drop down through the time frames, coming to the 4. Zoom all the way out here. There we go. All right. So that fib got taken out to the downside. So we'll run our fibs off the high, coming down. Oops. There we go. All right. So that's our active fib on the 1. You see this bounce around, rangy type action. But again, with the yens, right, I'm not bullish on them. Right. I'm not bullish on them. So yes, this is our capital fib here, but my bias is long. So I'm going to run the fibs off the low here. Okay. And this,
So that article that they got out about the yen, talking about they still increasing wages and having job positions, that wouldn't spark like a bullish sentiment.
they're not talking about changing the rate. Their
I
economy
got you.
is still booming, but they're set on keeping their ultra loose policy,
Okay.
right? And
Yeah.
until they're willing to change that, I don't see the narrative changing, right? Or if we have some major recession fears or some major banking news come out where everybody runs to the safe havens, then we could potentially see the yen change. But without those major scenarios happening now, I don't see that occurring.
So don't worry about Warren Buffett going out there talking to them and making moves.
Well, Warren is investing in their economy, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So he's bullish on their economy overall. So as far as the currency goes,
Okay, I see the difference.
The way that they're looking at it, right? The Bank of Japan, they're going to allow the free market to do what the free market does. So at some point, yes, this yen will start to gain some strength. Is it now? I don't think so. Right? Because you still have monetary policy divergence, right? You have the Aussie just increased their interest rate again, and the Bank of Japan is saying we're still sitting tight. Right?
Okay.
So without that happening, you're going to continue to see that yen kind of deteriorate a little bit. And maybe at some point the new governor changes the tone, but as of right now, they're still set tight on it. So until that tone changes, I see us seeing these waves play out, right? So we could see a retracement and continuation, right? Something like this, right? Don't know if we break back below that daily level, but if we do, we come into our sweet spot and then we look long, right? And we continue to make these waves off this daily level, breaking these zones and pressing higher. That's just my thought. So coming here to the 1, right? Those fibs running to the upside off the low, right? That daily level that we broke through. Fresh AB boundary looks like this. shallow retracement, push to the D extension, and that's where we are, right? So if we come back to this daily level and retest it, it's an 8-6 retracement, we push long, get to that weekly level, right? So this is ultimately what I'm looking for here. That's what I'm looking for there. Deep retracement on the one. Could push deeper, yes, right, based on this 4-hour fib, but also looking at how things have been moving, getting shallow retracements relatively on the lower time frames, right? So they're not getting super deep shallow retracement. Here we might get that deep retracement, but it'll be a shallow retracement on the 4, right? So if then statements, if this daily level holds, right, and we get a trend line break or a cloud break on a lower time frame, I'm going to be looking long to take this to the next level, right? So that's my thought there. If that level holds, I'm looking long. If that level gets broken, then we'll see how deep the retracement goes on a higher time frame. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Cool deal. Cool deal. All right. Aussie NZD pushing long. Let's see. Here on the daily, had a retracement, and now we're pushing back to the upside here, right? Overall, this is kind of where we sit. I'm not sure why my fib isn't on this one. Overall range, let's see. Let's run a fib off the high. Got taken out. Off the low. Also got taken out. High got taken out as well. So now we come back to the low, and this is what we're looking at here. That's our daily fib there. Look at it. 618 retracement. We're pressing long. Right. So we'll see if we're able to break above this daily level at 109. Right. But as we get to lower time frames, we'll see this reversal that occurred. Okay. We'll see that reversal that occurred. So come down to the 4. And there's your reversal. Shallow retracement at 118 and 127 zone. Push. We're getting a retracement now, right? Strong bullish action. We know price likes to take back 50, 60%, right? So look for this retracement. And then we'll see if we get a continuation long. Right? It's another one I missed. Okay. Man. So price pushing long there, right? Come down to your 1. Fibs running to the downside. You had your AB boundary. Price push long. Had a pullback continuation. We took out the A on the 1. So we flipped the fib. Boom. Here's your retracement. All right. So here's another scenario, right? We're looking for that deep retracement and potential continuation here. See if we get price to push into our sweet spot. And then look long. Joe, you long or you short here?
I'm still long for my original position from a couple of weeks ago.
Sweet. Great work. Great work. All right. So here, look for price to push into the sweet spot. And then see if we can get long. Matching the extension, daily resistance level, somewhere in that range. Right? What I mean when I say flip the fib, when the A gets taken out, you change the direction. like so, right? Price push to the upside. Take these out. Right? Price push to the upside, took out your A. So you flip the direction of your fib. Going to the upside. Okay. So that's the Aussie NZD. We'll wait, be patient, see what happens there. NZD. We got news happening tonight. Unemployment numbers, an employment rate, and there was also something else I thought. Nope, I guess that's it. That's it for the NZD. Yeah, so those unemployment numbers coming out tonight. So we'll see how those numbers fare, right? And that could be a catalyst for us. But that's the Aussie NZD. Okay, pushing along. Questions there?
No.
And the Aussie dollar. Now this one, right? We've been watching this. Daily time frame has just been bouncing, right? We pushed that 382 daily resistance. We pressed down, gave us a double bottom look here, right? On this press to the downside. Boom. Right? Double bottom look here, and then price push long. So coming down to the 4, this is that longer term move that we've been watching, right? Took its time getting up to this daily level, couldn't break through it. 236 came back down to that 118, 127 zone, and this is that double bottom look we can see a little more clearly here, right? And then we push long, okay? Then we push long. So we're still in this 80-20 scenario on the 4, okay? So we'll see if we're able to get some continuation, at least back to the top of the range, right? And then if we do get back to the top, we'll see if we're able to break out and continue pushing long, right? But that will also be dependent on what the Fed does, what the Fed does tomorrow, right? So we could see, again, lower time frame, retracement, continuation, and then we'll see what happens tomorrow. Excuse me, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Okay, so come down to our 1, right? And this is our longer term fib on the 1, right? We got a 618 retracement. We weren't able to break out to the downside, and we pushed back to the upside, right? So just range bound right now on this Aussie dollar, but pushing to the upside nonetheless. We'll see what happens at 67,936. Okay. You also had a crown reversal pattern here. Right. Pushing long. So here the matching D extension is at 67,295 on the harmonic fib, right? Which puts us in that same direction to the upside. Okay. So that's the Aussie dollar. Any questions here?
I have a question. Just kind of, I know in the first, when we first looked at this, you said something about the 80-20. So when we're doing the 80-20, do we need to be exact on the number? Like, for instance, I know the shallow retracement is what, the 286
Nope.
or lower.
Shallow retracement, anything less than the 382.
Anything less than 382. Okay, so when you say less, then it just doesn't.
It doesn't get to that price point.
It never gets to that price point. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So 68360. Right.
Okay.
Anything less than that.
Anything less than that. Okay.
Yeah. Then we look at price pushing down into this 118, 127 zone, right? And obviously, as you've seen, it can push through that zone, right? As long as it doesn't get to that D extension,
right?
We'll look to see if we get that reversal.
Okay. That was one of the questions that I had about, like, when we said we wanted to stall at that 127 and 118. Obviously, that's more than just one touch. We mean like a few touches in that range,
Yeah,
and as long as it doesn't get above that one.
you'll see consolidation, right? Like
Gotcha.
here,
Okay.
right? This is a wider range, but consolidation.
Yep.
And what you'll see a lot of times, right? How Benny and I, how we trade these, you'll hear Benny talk about giving the trade room to breathe and placing a stop outside the D extension. So you'll see our markups where we have these 80-20 scenarios, and we'll do a stop loss like this, right? Or we'll go back to this dollar yen. Right? Stop outside the D extension because price can push through, but as long as it doesn't get to that D extension, we're looking for price to turn over.
Okay.
Right? So you'll see our stop loss be outside that D, and we'll give price room to do what it's going to do, right? And then eventually turn over. So when you talk about that consolidation or stalling, this is your consolidation.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. And what Donette was talking about is seeing a break of the low out of that consolidation, right? Which we're getting right now. Boom.
Okay.
You get a break of the low. That can be a form of confirmation for you that price is ready.
Okay.
All right.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Aussie dollar, right? Pressing long. Pressing long. If you're in the sub fibs there, you're at your D extension. Look for retracement and continuation. Okay. Questions on the Aussie dollar? Oh. All right, cool, dude. Those are the Aussies. Let's take a look at this. I haven't marked it up, but I had a request to look at the Dow US 30. So let's see. All right. Let's see what we got. Logan says, "Good morning, everybody."
Good morning, Logan.
I said hello.
Morning, Logan.
No. All right, so let's see. Resistance, support. Let's see where we're set. There we go. Daily resistance here. We'll take that level, even though price pushed above, didn't close above, support level there. And we'll take that level in between. All right. So first, just looking at this, right? Bearish pullback, right? And now we're kind of ranging a bit, right? Top of the range, bottom of the range, not able to really break out to the top. We're just consolidating really here, right? So if we run a fib on this, we'll probably get taken out multiple. Well, there's our active fib there, actually, right? I thought that would have been taken out by now. But on the fib, we got a 786 retrace. An 86 retracement on the daily, right? If price is going to get to the matching D extension, that's at 30,000, right? So we'll see what happens if price breaks out of the range in one direction or the other. Okay, so that's on the daily. Take this out, and on these indices, I do them a little different. If when I did trade them, I traded them off of the 15-minute time frame. So I start at the daily and I work my way down. I never traded these from a longer term perspective. They're all short term deals. So here on the 4, resistance level here, support level there. Bam, right? The support and resistance on the 4 hour. Okay. And so what we see, price has been pushing to the upside, right? We're coming into some resistance levels, right? Not able to stay above this daily level. Bearish action, broke back below. Okay. So now we run our fib off the high like we did on the daily. These will ultimately get taken out. All right. So it gets choppy. This will be choppy all the way through to the downside. Right. And then we get into this consolidation. So with that being said, let's come to the low and work our way back to the high. Boom, right? Price came down, took that out. So now we come back to the high, come down. These are also choppy. Next high, whoops. Boom, right? Price pushed up, took out the high. So now we'll run our fib from on the 4. We'll run our fib off the low. And you see here, right? And when we talk about it, doesn't matter the asset class, doesn't matter the time frame. 4 hour, less than a 382. Shallow retracement. We'll wrap this up. Shallow retracement. Price pushed into the 118, 127 zone, took off to the upside. All right. So it doesn't matter the asset class. The market moves how the market moves. So now, boom, look where we are. Look where we are. Less than a 382. Shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone. Closed back below that daily level. Right. Looking for a retracement here. All right. Looking for a retracement here. 80-20 scenario on the 4. Okay. 80-20 scenario on the 4. So looking for price to decline. Come down to the 1. We got shorter term levels here. We'll do blue. All right. There we go. Okay. So now come down to our low, run our fib to the upside as we did on the 4. Boom. Fresh AB boundary on the 1. So we got 80-20 on the 4 hour. Fresh AB boundary on the 1 hour. Okay. Coming into some shorter term resistance and support levels here, right? So we could see a little bit of range action, but I'm looking for price to come to the downside, right? Based off the 4 hour 80-20 scenario. So we could see ranging through the day today as investors look toward tomorrow, right? And we'll see what the Fed does. Looking for price to decline, right? That's my longer term bias is to the short side. Okay. So if we come down to the 15 and we run fibs on the 15, those got taken out in both directions. So we'll come to the low. Boom. Price is already moving to the downside here, right? Deep retracement. So we'll see if we're able to break this 1 hour support level, right? We break that 1 hour support level. That's confirmation of that continued move to the downside. And then we'll go level by level, right? We'll go level by level. If you flip these fibs and just look at the current direction, running down, you got an 80-20 scenario here, but price have to break back above this resistance level, right? So we'll see what happens. But that could be part of the range play here, right? Something like that. And then continue to move down. But overall, longer term, my bias is bearish, right? And it's just playing those smaller waves. to the downside. So if I was to trade this, I'd be looking for a high price to come back and retest this 1 hour resistance or this 4 hour resistance. No, what I have. Red is daily. That's a daily resistance level there. Whoops. Oh, that's bad. My bad, everybody. I just made that look really ugly, but that's a 1 hour resistance and a daily resistance level here. So I'd be looking for price to retest those levels and then looking short, right? Based off that 4 hour fib. That's my thought on US 30. Longer term, I'm looking short, right? So I'm looking for all high prices and looking for short entries. Right, unless the Fed does something completely different. If the Fed pauses, then that changes everything. Right, if the Fed pauses, then we're looking at a change in narrative. All right, so that's where I sit. Questions on US 30? At 80-20 on the 4. Nope. Any questions on anything that we covered this morning? That's the play there.
Nope.
All right, good people. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the pre-New York session. You guys have an awesome Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.